Hey guys, this is Ricky again. Just wanted to send you out a quick update on Tartarus, really more or less just talking about the weather that we're about to experience next weekend over in Spokane. I'm sure all of you have been looking at your your weather and seeing that the weather is going to be hot. Um, we're looking at, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday being 104. Saturday being 99, low of 67, 95 with low of 66. So what does that mean for us? Well, we still do the race, but it's going to be important that your crew understands how to actually crew you. And two, it's going to be important that you understand how to kit yourself out. Remember that this race is a unaided race. So what that means is that we will help facilitate and organize the race, but we cannot help you all work through whatever it is. So you as a crew or you as a single runner need to kind of set yourself up for success. So there's just a couple things that I want to go over when it comes to running in the heat or different heat strategies that might help you next Saturday and Sunday. So just to kind of credential this, I'm not a scientist by any means, but I do live down in Phoenix. We run pretty regularly, both day and night, when it's over 100 degrees here. Not only that, but I do compete in some fairly pretty extreme weathers. I'm a two-time marathon Desab finisher. I also finished Badwater 146 supported, and I also did a solo crossing with the Badwater 146 as well, going from the lowest to the highest through Death Valley. So I kind of have a good idea of how to set yourself up for success when it comes to running in the heat. So a couple things to think about is one, your clothing. A lot of people like to wear these like wicking type layers when they go out and they run, and that's really great. Um, One of the things that it can do for you though is if you aren't putting moisture onto these types of clothings, it does no good for you. And in some cases, if you're a big sweater like I am, wicking layers just absolutely suck. They hold the water, they suffocate your skin, and it's really hard to get something that's breathable. So with that said, you're going to have to really begin to understand what your body reacts to the best. Me personally, I like wearing cotton when I'm running in the heat. For me, I like to be able to cool it down and it will evaporate very quickly and I don't have to worry about it. When I wear wicking and I go to cool it down, sometimes it gets evaporates too quickly and it doesn't hold like I'd like it to. And since for us, we're going to be out running 4 miles every hour. And so at some point when we get back, we're going to have the ability to cool ourselves with our crew, but it's going to be important that, you definitely test out what works best for you. Some things that I like to wear, kind of starting from the top down, I usually will bring out a hat with, with the sunshade on the back of it. A lot of times what I like to do with these is I'm going to take the background off here so you guys can see. What I'll do is I'll take uh, the hats and use it more for cooling than anything. So, a good hat with some good cover is definitely going to help you out. Um, I do like to wear a buff sometimes. And the way that I wear my buffs is I'll split them in half. And this will go the seam, not the part that you can open up, but the seam itself will go around my neck. And then once it's around my neck, my crew can actually slip ice and things like that down around the outside part of that. So, it would look like getting this on. You would put it on, and then these open seams is where we can stuff ice and things like that. So the other thing that I like to do is clothing selection. Columbia PFG performance fishing gear is actually what I really like to wear. So what's really nice about these is it does have UV protection. It does evaporate really quickly. Some of them have cool technology, so when it is hit with moisture or something like that, it can actually um, do something and do some good. So there's that. One of my favorite things to wear though is basically a handkerchief that's folded up, and you keep the sides open, so it looks just like this. And you can open and slide ice through the sides on the inside. So this is completely hollow all the way around. You can jam as much ice as you can into that thing. You then take it. Some people like to wear it in the front. Some people will wear it in the back like this. They'll tie it up, and this is what they'll run with and just let the ice melt over their body. I've seen people who really like to take buckles from old running packs or things like that, and then run the ends of this through the buckles so they can just snap on, or they've configured it so it actually will rest and tie into their running vest, and then they'll let the water come down from there. So that's just another way of being able to try to stay cool when you're out there. I would recommend that you have two of these, especially if you know you're going to be maybe up against the time for the 1 hour time. You can have these kind of alternating in and out. And what I like to do with these is I actually like to just rest them and sit them in buckets. So I'll put the ice into the hanky. I will have a bucket, Home Depot bucket, which I'll get into here in a minute, but I'll have that full of just ice water, and then I'll dump these into it. And so if I'm crewing myself or if I'm crewing somebody, I'll have these readily available. My bucket is kind of like my cornerman kind of toolkit. So I'll pull these out, sling these around everybody. If they're dripping water or whatever, it's totally great. If they're only using it to rest, then that's totally fine too, right? But the idea is to get them cooled as best as you possibly can. So with two of them, you can kind of alternate. The other thing that I like about two is that I can throw, if I'm actually just sitting down, I can have one in the front and throw one in the back if I'm sitting down and I'm trying to cruise somebody, or if I'm trying to rest myself. So that's one other option. The other thing to do that you can do too is just with a simple Ziploc bag. Some people will take and just cut little slits down at the very bottom of the bag and along the sides, and then they'll fill this full of ice, seal it up, and then shove that down into the back part of their running vest. And that's also not considered artificial aid. It's a normal practice when you're out running. So that's a lot of the stuff that we typically will use. People like arm slings and will like to get the arm sleeves wet. That's also another option that you can use. I don't really like arm sleeves because for me, I just like running water and ice down my arms and be good to go in that sense. The other thing to do too is palms can be cooled very quickly. So if you're coming in, putting your hands into like a bucket full of ice is really good. A lot of times I'll take and just do a regular like bottle like this, fill it full of ice water, and just have that ready for my runner. When they come in, it's either up against their stomach, it's in their armpits, they're holding on to it, they're putting it wherever they feel like they need to put it without really getting wet, if that's something to be concerned. The other thing to do is just as a crew, if you are crewing out there, if you're a runner who's talking to your crew about this, is just have Ziploc bags ready to go with ice in it. And then they can sit on legs, they can sit on chests, they can go on the back of the neck. They can pretty much go anywhere to help rapidly cool your runner when they come in. Okay. Other stuff, people like sunscreen, the lotion, like there is no science behind this. I think it's really more mental than anything. But when you're putting lotion onto your skin, the idea is that you're putting a really thick layer across your skin and an oil that has a tendency to reduce the skin's ability to operate right. So sprays are usually pretty good for this. One, you're able to broadcast a little better, but two, there are cooling sprays that you can use that are sunscreen also. So when you spray it, it does have a small little cooling effect. It's not a lot, but at least it feels good when it comes on you, and you're not dealing with, something that might be warm or whatever. Okay, so that's primarily what you would see for the runner. For the crew, not only have I done Badwater in terms of running it, Badwater 146, not the 135 race, but not only have I done it, but I've crewed Badwater 135 for many runners. I've been a crew for Badwater for this was my 6th year crewing. And the essentials for cooling off is super easy. One, have a cooler that is nothing but ice, like a 120 quart cooler, the largest size cooler that you can get, that you can pack as much ice as you into. Remember that your crew should not be traveling to the convenience store or to the store to resupply every hour. You want to bring as much as you possibly can. Now, I would look at crewing. If I were to be a crew for somebody at Tartarus or a Backyard Ultra, I would want to make sure that I'm set up for not only the heat of the day, but also the evening, because it is going to cool off. And when your skin is out and you're exposed for 12 to 15 hours in the sun, and it drops down to 67 degrees in the evening, you're going to be cold. But with that said is you want to be prepared. Your crew needs to be prepared to be able to go the distance, the 12 hours or so, without having to resupply a whole bunch. So that means having ice readily available for you right off the bat. So once you have that cooler, the next stage of this would be to then have everything else cooled. When it goes to setting up your hydration, what I would recommend is that you don't go out with crazy ice cold water. It does do a shock to your system. When you start getting into maybe not the first day, but maybe you're getting into the second day, and now it's your second day of exposed heat and exposed sun, it is going to get to you. So what I would recommend is that you go out with water that is comfortable, but it's not crazy ice cold. If you haven't trained with crazy ice cold water, don't do it in your race. Just stick with exactly what you've done. Utilize the cooling strategies that you have. When you get in, let your crew start cooling you down as much as possible. The way that we crew in Badwater, which is a really extreme event, you're talking about between 115 and 100 degrees ambient temperature. And then you've got the radiation, the radiated heat that comes off the road too. So in essence, you're sitting at around 130 degrees for a runner that is going to be crewed maybe every couple miles or so. So I really would probably treat Tartarus very much the same way. I would have a cornerman bucket. The cornerman bucket would be full of ice, would be full of my baggies and my cooling cravats. Anything that I'm going to put onto the runner when they get in. It could be little hand towels, anything like that, maybe 3 or 4 of them shoved into there so you can put over the thighs, you can put over the chest, stuff like that. A lot of distressed runners in the heat like ice around their stomach and ice on their hands. So just instruct them, sit down, throw the ice on the stomach, and have the hands just rest on the top. Other things that you can do is just go to Home Depot and get yourself a big painter sponge. These sponges are great. They absorb a lot of water. So you can go into your cornerman bucket, squeeze, release, let all the water absorb into that, and just start running it down their legs, running it over their head right before they get up. Maybe squeeze it and throw it at them. This is like one of your main tools. Okay. The other thing that you would have inside of here potentially is a mister. You can get these are just the normal weed misters. They're small, they're easy to grab. But as your runner is coming in and they get into the runner's corral, this thing can be pumped, ready to go, and you can be spraying them as they go. They may even need to just be misted when they sit down and you're just sitting there. They've got all the ice all around them and they're just providing them with mist as much as you can when they come in. Okay. So that's really it. It's a pretty simple strategy. The idea is when they go out, they have to have things that are basically natural with running, which is cravats with ice, ice bags that are in their vest, things along those lines that could potentially cool themselves, different types of running that are UV, UPF protection. All of those things are great things to have while they're out on the trail. But the key on this and for longevity is going to be making sure that you or your crew are properly cooling yourself when you get in. And when I say properly, it's really going to be a rapid cool session. So if you've got 5 minutes, 5 minutes with an ice bag on your belly and a couple cool things laid out would be really good to go. Managing this with a cooler of ice is very, very easy to do. You're dumping probably 1 to 2 bags in here with a little bit of water inside of that, or you're just letting it melt. If you're a solo runner and you come in and you're a rucker, you're getting your ruck off or you're getting your equipment off, your sponge is already in there, all of your stuff's already in there, you're grabbing it, you're squeezing it all over yourself, you're wiping down your legs, you're grabbing your mister, you're misting yourself, doing your thing, and then you're getting ready to go back out and reset to get back out there again. So that's how in extreme weather, that's how we really truly just try to keep most of the runners cool. It's going to be important that you educate your crew. It's going to be important that if you're a solo runner, that you're doing this stuff on your own and you're setting yourself up for success. That's why I say a bucket is the best. It can sit literally right between your legs. Your sponge, your ice, everything could literally be in here that you need to cool when you get in. You're throwing all that stuff on. All of the stuff that you need is within arm's reach. You've got enough ice that can take you into the evening. Now, when you transition into the evening, the sun goes down. We know in Spokane or in the Northwest, the temperatures are pretty drastic and they don't sustain high temperatures like they do here in Arizona, where the sun goes down, it's 10 degrees outside and it'll be 100 degrees even through the nighttime. In Spokane, you're going to see that 30, 40 degree temperature difference. So the importance of this is that you want to let the system reset itself when the evening comes around. The sun goes down, you're no longer fighting that sun. You're going to have to just start letting things happen and go. One of the biggest things and complaints that I see when I crew runners at Badwater is their stomach starts to get distressed to the point where they almost want to drop because they're not really sure what they can do. They're not really sure if they can, maybe that runner didn't take in a lot of calories or whatever it is. And what I try to explain to people is that the digestive system is the first system that goes into survival mode when it's stressed. So of course you're going to feel that when it gets hot. So what I ask of you and what I really hope that you consider is that you let those first 3 or 4 hours of darkness, let it work its magic. Let it work through whatever stomach issues are coming in play. I will guarantee you'll come back and you'll bounce back and you'll be good to go again. Everybody reacts differently to the heat. I would just recommend that even if you didn't get a lot of calories in, you can still walk and finish in that mile, especially the night loop. The night loop is very flat. It's on asphalt. You can maintain a 17-minute mile and jog a little bit and still come in right at the hour if you need to. But I would encourage you all, if you are feeling that the stress and you're feeling the heat, don't think that you're out of the game yet. Let the body do its thing. Let your crew support the system. You still may need to be iced down even at night. You still may need to feel that rapid cool down in order for your body to bring it down very quickly. We are at night when we're running at Badwater, we're still throwing ice at our crew. We're still doing everything that we've done during the daytime for that. It's not going to get as extreme, but I think for a lot of you Pacific Northwest folks that haven't experienced running at 100 degrees or experienced being at those temperatures for a prolonged period of time, which for us is probably going to be 12 to 13, maybe 14 hours where we're still having the direct sunlight on us, it can affect us a lot. So a lot of protection, protect yourself from the sun during the day, let the system reset. It may take 3 or 4 hours in the nighttime before you start feeling good again. I guarantee you at some point your body's going to be like, oh, I'm feeling good. I need food. Give it to me now. And that's where your crew kicks in with the nutrition and everything else that's in play. Don't think that you're out of the game yet if you got stomach distress. Alrighty. Hope everybody's got a good week. Can't wait to see y'all in a couple days.